There is a singular problem affecting teachers, parents, employers, and public speakers alike. The people that are supposed to be paying attention to them or completing the tasks assigned to them have their heads down, buried in their smartphones. Many ascribe this to the deleterious effect of consuming too much or too frequently short-form content, shortening their attention spans. Hello, my name is Moser, and today we will be discussing my research into the correlation between short-form media consumption and the human attention span. YouTube and Facebook have been developing their own variants of the now ubiquitous short-form content model made popular by Vine back in 2014, propagated by Instagram Reels, and made even more prominent by TikTok. This idea that social media is negatively affecting our attention spans is by no means the idea of just disgruntled homeschool moms at a church function or frustrated teachers in the break room somewhere pining for the academics of yesteryear. My research questions are twofold. First, what common factors compel an individual to consume media in this fashion? Second, how does prolonged contact with short-form content affect the human attention span? Since our goal is to better understand how the content affects our minds as opposed to the specific nature of the content itself, we will be using uses and gratification theory as a lens through which to better understand this topic. Uses and gratification theory was developed in the 1940s. As researchers studying why specific forms of media and types of content appealed to different groups noticed a pattern in their radio listeners. The theory is explained this way, that people choose to consume certain types of media in order to obtain specific gratifications for their needs as a result of media consumption, specifying 5 specific types of needs desired by an individual. The first are cognitive needs, followed by affective needs, personal integrative needs, social integrative needs, and tension-free needs. I'm specifically going to highlight affective needs and tension-free needs. Affective needs are our emotional desires, pleasure, sadness, any type of emotion that can be desired and satisfied through media. Second are tension-free needs. This refers to the idea of escapism, using social media as a way to step back from the real world. Isolate yourself from reality and from your responsibilities. Please keep these two concepts in mind. Drawing upon uses and gratification theory as a theoretical basis for this research, it can be argued that the two main draws to binge short-form content are a desire for fulfillment of affective needs and, most commonly, tension-free needs. In 2022, a study was conducted concerning factors influencing Instagram Reel usage, and it highlighted multiple motives incentivizing the use of short-form content for gratification fulfillment. Data procured through this survey indicated 3 primary motivations: socially rewarding self-promotion, entertainment, these are our affective needs, and escape, tension-free needs. Participants noted that they also felt an increase in distraction and a loss in attention span gradually over time, attributing this to the social media consumption. When asked questions regarding their mood in light of these facts, they professed feelings of disappointment, annoyance. They professed feelings of unproductiveness and even self-disgust. This creates what we call a cycle of disappointment, in which negatively valenced social media engagement behavior worsens focus, causing more short-form media use, reducing attention span in a self-perpetuating cycle. Participants described how they would be unable to refrain from scrolling for over half an hour, attributing these behaviors to factors such as anticipation of the next video, algorithmic content preferences sorting what a perfectly curated view of what they wanted to see. Procrastination, and some participants even got as specific as talking about dopamine stimulation. However, the effects of prolonged short-form content consumption can cause a sort of chiastic depression, in which users are entrapped in a cycle of diminishing returns, causing a decrease in attention span and motivation. In light of these findings, I conducted my own research. 60 participants completed a self-administered survey intended to gather information revolving around motivating factors for short-form content consumption on social media and its effect on the human attention span. Participants were asked how frequently they used social media platforms such as Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, or Facebook. The participants were able to select the following options: multiple times a day, once a day, a few times a week, or never. 85% of participants selected using social media multiple times a day. Next, the participants were asked on average how much time they spent per day consuming social media content on various platforms. 22 of the 60 participants reported engaging with the content for up to 2 hours. That was the most common answer. Outliers ranged from 10 hours to 10 minutes. Thirdly, 70% of participants reported a decrease in their attention span since they began using social media, while 21.7% reported a significant decrease in their attention span over time. The participants were then asked how often they found themselves getting distracted by social media while performing tasks that required their concentration. This could be academic study or work. The majority of participants indicated that they were distracted regularly. They used words like often, frequently, all of the time, fairly often, 3 to 4 times an hour getting distracted, and too much. One participant who described it as often also indicated that it required significant mental effort and energy to remain focused, saying that it's tough. It's a struggle. A minority of participants indicated that this was a rare occurrence, noting that they put systems in place to prevent this behavior. We'll get back to that later. Others indicated that they only scrolled through social media when they wanted to do research on something specific or stay informed on current events in the news or the activity of their friends and family. Significantly, participants were asked how they felt immediately after an extended period on social media. 38.3% of participants indicated that they were anxious or drained. Participants were then asked how they felt up to an hour later, an hour after their binge. The possible answer choices remained the same as the previous question. And according to the data, after an hour had elapsed, the number of the participants who felt indifferent increased by 20%, while those who felt anxious or drained only diminished by 3.3%. Participants who selected other then were prompted to provide specifics about their personal experience. Participants who selected other often felt discouraged or frustrated, particularly with their use of time. One participant described their experience saying, "I feel discouraged for wasting time and not being productive." Yet another participant said, "I tend to feel unmotivated after a social media binge." One more participant indicated that while they were entertained, they were simultaneously frustrated at their waste of time, which sullied their entertainment and mood. Participants who selected other again indicated that they felt as though they had wasted time. One participant describes the feeling of being incapable of my tasks. Participants were then asked what factors motivated them to consume social media content. A majority of the participants indicated boredom as a motivator, while still others indicated an active desire for procrastination or as an escape when they were feeling overwhelmed. Another, though smaller group of participants indicated their motivation to find entertainment or engage in research or to find inspiration. A minority of participants indicated that they were motivated to use social media as a means of staying informed in the current events in the news, as well as making themselves aware of events in their friends' and families' lives, or even exclusively using social media as a method of communicating with those friends and family. In the final question, participants were asked if they made conscious efforts to limit their social media use in order to prevent it from affecting their attention span or productivity. 53 of the 60 participants indicated yes. When asked what these efforts involved, a majority of the participants indicated using timers to remind them to stop using social media as a means to limit their activity. However, several participants who indicated this strategy also noted that they often consciously chose to ignore the timers, manually turning them off and continuing to scroll. Other participants indicated that they put their phones away or placed their phones on Do Not Disturb, removed apps from their home screen, or even deleted social media apps entirely in order to maintain their focus and limit their social media use. 10 of the participants related accountability from friends and family as a means of limiting their social media usage, while 4 of those 10 indicated spiritual practice as a means for limiting what they referred to as temptation. 6 participants specifically used the word addiction while describing their social media usage when answering the question. This data set, when examined individually and as a whole, can lead to some startling conclusions. The first significant idea in the data suggests a compulsive desire to engage with social media, especially short-form content, as 85% of the participants reported using social media multiple times a day. The average time on social media amongst the participants averaged around 2 hours and 15 minutes, which could demonstrate a potent example of American psychologist B.F. Skinner's intermittent reinforcement theory. This states that once a behavior has been established, intermittent reinforcement, the idea of reinforcing the behavior only some of the time, can be used to maintain the behavior over a long stretch of time. This can help prevent satiation to the reinforcer, making the behavior more resistant to extinction. The second noteworthy aspect to be found in this data is how this repeated engagement with social media affects the attention span. 70% of the participants reported a negative change in their attention span, with 21.7% noting a significant decrease. Many reported an increase in social media-related distraction while performing unrelated tasks that require concentration. The third significant factor of the data shows in participants' feelings after engaging with social media intended to gratify their desires. This relates to the previous discussion of uses and gratifications theory and the theorized depressive cycle. 38.3% of participants reported feeling anxious or drained, with a further 25% who selected other, reporting more nuanced, though negative feelings. Even up to an hour later, the feeling of anxiousness or fatigue persisted in 35% of the participants. Demonstrating social media's failure to gratify the needs of a majority of its users while still being portrayed as a means for entertainment and enjoyment. This combination of appearance by design and social convention and the anxiety caused could, as previously discussed, create a cycle of diminishing returns, causing a decrease in attention span, motivation, and a positive mental attitude. Many people ascribe many of the world's ills to social media, especially the undeniable drop in the human attention span over the last few years. With many social media platforms developing their short-form content initiatives, this association is only growing amongst the population. Uses in gratification theory being utilized as a lens, this shows that the current literature revealed a cycle of disappointment, contributing to frequent distraction while performing complex and important tasks. Through the analysis of a self-administered survey, 60 participants provided data supporting the hypothesis that prolonged and repeated contact with short-form content affects the human attention span.